itself. Verse 3, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. James chapter 1 and verse 3. God has a goal in mind. You can count on that. James is speaking here about the attitude of your heart toward your trouble. The Greek aorist tense used here suggests that the joy is the result of the trial. In Hebrews chapter 12, we see that one method God uses in the life of the believer is chastising, which literally means child training. Trials are meaningless, suffering is senseless, and testing, God says there is a reason for them, and it is a good reason. And we know all things work together for good to them that love God, to them which are called according to his purpose. Romans chapter 8 and verse 28. When the external pressures of testing are upon us and we are placed in the fire of adversity and tragedy and suffering, the attitude of faith should be that God has permitted it for a purpose and that he has a high and lofty goal in view. We can know that God is working something out in our lives. I must hasten to add that this does not necessarily mean that we will understand what purpose God has in it. This is the testing This is the testing of faith. We walk by faith and not by sight. Someone in the Middle Ages said, God nothing does nor suffers to be done, but what he would ourselves if we could see through all events of things as well as he. What are some of the purposes served in the testing of faith? In this epistle, James says that testing is the proof positive of genuine faith. Let me use a rather homely illustration. Some years ago, I had the privilege of leading to the Lord a secretary uh, to one of the officers in a large airplane plant here in Southern California. On a number of occasions, she asked me to speak to a Bible study class in that plant. While I was there, I learned something about how airplanes are built. They start out by designing a new plane on the drawing board. Then blueprints are drawn up and models are made. The models are tested and then construction begins. After about 2 years, the first plane will roll off the assembly line. The question remains, will it fly? Will it perform? Will it stand the test? So the test pilot must then put the plane through the paces on in the air. When the plane is proven to be all that the maker has said it is, there is confidence in the plane and the airlines will buy it. It is then brought to the airport where passengers will board it and the plane thus becomes serviceable and useful. In the same sense, ore is brought to an assayer to prove that it is gold or that it is silver. He will put a fire under it and pour acid on it, and then he declares whether or not it is genuine. Likewise, God puts faith to the test to prove that it is genuine. Someone has expressed it like this: the acid of grief tests the coin of belief. There is a lot of truth in that. God tests our faith for a purpose, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. His, he tests us in order that he might produce patience in our lives. And that concludes that section.